Hey everybody, welcome to the Brandon Bonanza show. I am so silly today. How are you guys? Let's do this. Let's try again. Hey everybody, welcome to the Brandon Bonanza nighttime show. We are killing it. I didn't share the sound. Why would I? Here you go, everybody. We're gonna start that again. I'm so silly.
Bonanza, Bonanza, we're hanging out. It's the Brandon Bonanza show. Bonanza, Bonanza, we're hanging out on the Brandon Bonanza show. Hanging out on the Brandon Bonanza show.
I can't hear my theme song, but I know you guys can hear it. Anyway, what is going on, everybody? I am so excited to be here tonight live on a Thursday night. And I don't even have my hair down yet. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Brandon Bonanza show. We have a quote for you today. We're going to start off with a quote. Look at that, guys. I have a surfer hairdo. It's kind of wild. Shout out to Leaf Only. It's where I get my organic tobacco leaves that I smoke. If you guys want to get organic tobacco, I recommend the Canadian Virginian flute. It's really good stuff. Leafonly.com. Tell him Brandon, the tall guy with the cowboy hat, which I don't have. Oh no, I don't have my hat. That's all right. I think we could do a show without it, or maybe it'll magically appear. You never know. Anyway, let's do the quote. Shall we? This quote, so I've used this quote before. And honestly, hang on a second. I've used this quote before, and I really liked it because it pertains tonight. So I used it on the show that I did with Joe and Jeff, who I'm going to be doing some more stuff with. We did a show about the anima, so I think we're going to do one now about the animus. So until then, though, we're going to read a quote. I mean, I have a until then, I'm going to share this quote because it really is. There's something about it that's just, I don't know. It's amazing. It's so simple. I don't know why. Oh, I see what happened. Here it is. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway. Yeah. So we talked about this quote before. It's really short. And I'm just talking until I could pull it up again. There we go. All right. It's by Carl Jung. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Now that I call this shadow worker. It's the name of this episode, and it really is about shadow work. I wrote a book about shadow work. You can go to shadowworked.com. I'll put that. It's in there. It's in the description. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, other Brandon? It's already there. Um, so go there, get the book. It's just a PDF form or EPUB, so you can get that. I don't have it in paper yet, but you can get it there, and it's a little story about my life and the changes that I went through and like the changes that the world went through as well. Like in 2020 and 2001. I don't know if you guys remember those years. They were pretty pivotal years, and I remember them really well. And they talked about them in that book. So you can get that. That's my other commercial. And More Laws, More Problems. That's my website I've had for like since 2013. So forever. I mean, for ages. I've had this website. So I'm going to pull a card now, morelawsmoreproblems.com. Go check it out. The link is down below in the description. We're going to pull one today from the Edgar Allan Poe companion. The Edgar Allan Poe tarot. The Edgar Allan Poe tarot. As I said in a previous episode, if I had a time machine, I would go back in time and talk to Edgar Allan Poe and be like, let's make a tarot deck. Like everybody has these things you want to do. They want to kill little babies of people in the future. I think it's a little weird. But I would go back and ask Edgar Allan Poe. And of course, if he said no, I'd be like, Edgar, don't make me lock you to don't let me strap you to a thing and to get a big pendulum. Swing until you agree. All right, this deck, I'm just kidding, Edgar, obviously. I'm going to put some good intention. So we are going to pull a card for today. For this podcast, it's going to be a great intention. And what do we got? I'm not even gonna look either. Oh, is it upside down? I just tried to pull it out that way. We got the Seven of Swords. Oh, interesting in this deck. I don't know if I've seen this one before. I mean, I've seen all the cards in this deck, but I don't know if it's come out in a reading before. Very interesting. Seven of Swords. Swords are all about communication, all about air, what that means esoterically, thoughts. Could even be, bad thoughts that are coming in. Yo, what's up, Nigel? EAP is another cousin of mine. Yeah, this guy. What's up, Nigel's in the chat? How's it going? Yeah, so the Seven of Swords. The seven is a good number. It's the chariot in the major arcana. That's what I was looking for. So you think about what the chariot kind of embodies, and then you look at swords and what swords embody, which is really just, like I said, communication, thoughts. Sometimes it's bad thoughts, but generally the Seven of Swords, because the seven is a good number, it kind of represents perfection in a way. If you're perfecting a craft, if you're new to a craft and you get to a seven at it, that's when you're really good. And then the eight is when you can reproduce that perfection all the time, and it kind of just goes into that eight cycle, which is infinity, and it just keeps going around. So it really represents like a skill you mastered. And then nines and tens are about what you're doing with that mastery in the world and what you're doing next, basically. So seven is like that first point of mastery. So in regards to the show today called Shadow Worker, I could talk about my mastery with swords, because people say there's two wolves, every man, every person, every man and woman and person on this experience realm, or whatever. Everyone in this world has two wolves in them, a good one and a bad one. I feel like I'm a little different. I have two swords in me. That's right. And they hurt. So could somebody please pull them out? Somebody please pull them out, because they hurt. So this is kind of like in regards, again, to the show Shadow Worker, the Seven of Swords. It really, to me, is about doing the work like meditation, I guess I could say, because it's about your inner world, and if it becomes overwhelming or not. Sometimes you get a little overwhelmed with your thoughts, you get a little crazy, and there's nothing you could do. Sometimes people have panic attacks. That's where it leads to. It's like that's the polar, I guess, edge of where it will lead to. But it really just starts with, in my estimation, that's really what meditation is. It's kind of just like letting go of thoughts. And then, they're going to keep coming back, but you just find a way to stop yourself and realize you're lost in thought. And you're like, oh, what am I doing here? Like, is this really the case? Am I framing this the right way? Am I maybe just, being a victim here, or whatever the case may be? And that's really what it's all about. And then, so I guess I could read a little bit from the book too. Let me do that. I like to do that. Seven of Swords. See how accurate I was. Accurate, or see what the book has to say anyway. I mean, I was really accurate. I always am. All right, I'm gonna pop this chat out too. I should have done that earlier. Yeah. All right, so I got the book here. I'm gonna read it for you. Seven of Swords. All right. To the bed. So I really like this Edgar Allan Poe deck. It's, for me, it seems to be very accurate in the situation, but let's see. Telltale Heart. It's in the essay, Maisel's chess player, an automaton called the Turk challenges the general public to games of chess. Rarely has anyone beaten the automaton. Critics said that the Turk was no true automation, but instead a how. Critics said that the Turk was no true. You ever have a day where you just can't talk? Critics said that the Turk was no true automation, but instead housed a human, a puppet master who owned the Turk. The puppet master who owned the Turk, Johann Maisel, exposed the automaton's internals, revealing only machinery. The public saw no signs of cheating, but Poe believed this to be a hoax. That's right. That was when he decided to write his essay in an attempt to debunk Mazel and the Turk. He applied his ratiocination, I think that's the word, to the event and postulated that a small man was hiding within the Turk. While Poe was correct in identifying the hoax, he was wrong about one thing. The man wasn't hiding in the Turk, he was hiding inside the Turk's table and moving around on rollers. That makes sense. Master chess player William Schlumberger was able to control the Turk's arm via magnets placed on a smaller chessboard inside the automation. That's crazy. The puppet master was thus able to deceive the public for years before his trick was discovered. In this image, the Turk sits at his chess table ready to fool his audience. See, even back then it's the 1800s, they were worried about AI and automatons and stuff. This is crazy. The sword placed on his hat represents a mastermind and strategic deceiver. That's what I'm saying, right? Seven of Swords, mastery. The key in the drawer symbolizes the truth hidden beneath the automaton's table. Alrighty. So the reading is just as in Mazel's chess player, deceit is at the heart of the Seven of Swords. Someone you know could be deceiving you and hiding their true intentions. You could be the one cheating. You could be the one cheating someone else. It's also important to admit if you're betraying yourself. Prioritize yourself strategically. Manage your time and conserve your energy so that you can accomplish your goals. Theft can come in the form of energetic robbery. Avoid those who drain your energy. If you end a relationship that doesn't align with your values, take your leave in the most respectful way. If you're having trouble at work or in school, speak honestly with your boss or professor and form a solution that works for you both. Upright, betrayal, theft, deceit. Secret, strategy, trickery, reverse, self-doubt, self-betrayal, confessions, truth, problem solving. And it's funny because when I pulled it, it did come out a little upside down. And self-doubt, self-betrayal, confessions, truth, problem solving. It's funny that's in there. See, there's a little bit of, there's always something good. There's always a little silver lining to that. And I would say that last part, like self-deception and stuff, that really has to do with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Excuse me. So let's get into it, right? Let me get my screen so I could see me. Get my chat so I could see me. All right. So when I first got into this whole self-work thing, I was really just had all these expectations. Excuse me, I'm gonna have a drink of water. I don't know what's going on. I've been talking all day, and then I had all these expectations. You know, I would listen to Ram Dass talk, lectures, read books. I'd read about Buddhism and listen about Buddhism, meditation. And I was thinking to myself, you know, I want to become enlightened. I'm going to become an enlightened master. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm just get my chat, you know, and I'm just going to be able to like know everything and see everything coming and nothing's going to fuck with me. I'll be able to levitate maybe. Or who knows? I'm going to speak in front of thousands of, you know, all these, what's the right word? All these, it's like anything else when you first get into it. You have all these kind of misconceptions or just, I'll just say expectations. That's the best word I guess I could say here. You have all these expectations of where you think you're going to end up and what's going to happen. What are you going to do? And so that's why I really voraciously went for this because I saw it was possible. I saw other people were doing it. I heard Ram Dass's testimony. I heard about Maharaji, who was this supposed realized being over in India in the 60s. And he performed these miracles. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll be able. Not that I wanted to go out there and be like Jesus and be walking around performing miracles for people, but I just wanted, honestly, I was really just looking for a little peace of mind. And I was looking for a way to kind of control this inner turmoil that I felt. I think that would be the best way to describe it. because I had this moment in my life where I was living one way and I was looking into all this stuff and I was trying to make myself better and I was doing self work, I was doing stand up comedy, and every night or every whatever, I would get up on stage at an open mic or a show or whatever, and I would just talk about my life and jokes and stuff. So it really started to sink in. And then allegedly I had a little plant medicine that really kicked me in the ass. What's up? Oh, it's a thumper. Hi, buddy. Hi, come on. Go ahead. What? We have a thumper in here joining us. Snickers. We have two black cats. We have two black cats in the room. We're in full Matrix deja vu mode. So we're good to go. Snickers is here sleeping, and Thumper is right here being a butt. All right, I'm gonna make this so he can go. Anyway, talk about derailing podcast. I'm telling you what. So I had all these ideas, right? And really, what I wanted, I had all these ideas of what it was going to be. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be this crazy master and all this stuff. But really, what I wanted is just inner peace. Like I said, I just wanted some inner balance. So I started to listen to all these accounts of people who would meditate and do all this stuff. So, like I said, I got into plant medicine. That kind of kicked me in the ass. Oh, that's what I was saying. That's right. So I was going along, and I had this experience, and it wasn't during plant. Like I saw some stuff, and I was still like, whoa. And then it took me a while, and it was not shortly after that. I don't remember how long, but I kind of had this experience where I was like, oh, whoa, I see. I just had a shift of my whole perspective. I was looking at the world one way, and really what it was is like a materialistic way. I was looking at it more of a materialistic way. And I think that's like the secret. Like we could just end this podcast now. It's not materialism. Everyone thinks it's materialism. It's not materialism. But so I got a taste or whatever it was I saw. I'm like, oh, I have been doing this behavior because I had a self-esteem issue and I was just trying to use these experiences to fill that void that I had inside myself. When now I realized you could just fill it with self-love. And a lot of people talk about self-love and they're like, oh, it's like they'll talk about self-love and they'll just be like, that sounds very egotistical, Brandon. Are you a narcissist? You want to love yourself? And most people watching this, I'm sure you guys know that's not what it is. It's really just about not being an asshole to yourself. And then once you stop being an asshole to yourself, you could stop being an asshole to other people. This is just what I found out in my own life. Try it and see if you have the same if you have the same results. Results may vary, everybody. So I had that experience and I just kept kind of meditating and doing my life differently. I just changed. I didn't even have to try to stop any of the like addictions or whatever you'd say you had. I just wasn't. It was like my friend said it best. My friend Joe, who's been on the show, Joe P. Shout out to him. He said it plenty of times. He said it to me, and I was like, it's like when you had too much food. It's like you like the food still, but you just ate it, and you're like, it's enough. Whatever it is, you're like, I'm good. I don't want to have any more. So you don't have to even try to quit whatever it is you're doing. It kind of just falls away. And that's what happened. And then I had this moment. It was like a dark night of the soul, which everybody talks about and you hear about it so much. And I'm having a dark night of the soul. What's that? People blame things on it. They're like, oh, yeah, it's not my fault. I'm having a dark night of the soul. I could be a dick. Really, though, what I see that is, it's just you have this new view on the world and you're not sure. It's like you're a snail and or a hermit crab and you let go of your old shell and you're looking for a new one and you're just running out there like I know the shell that I want, but I can't seem to get it or find it. And so as you're doing this work, running around looking for your shell, your next house, your next solid worldview that you're going to get behind and defend until you have to, right? Hang on, guys. Here he is. All right. So that's really that's what shadow work is. It's like during your dark night of the soul, you are, and it's different for everybody. So it's hard for me to actually put a name on what you're doing. But basically, what you're doing is you're fitting into your new worldview. You're fitting into your new perspective that you now have. You're changing your behaviors. Maybe you change your clothes, you change your diet, your lifestyle, you grow your hair out. Maybe you let your beard grow. You start a podcast. You might be doing art. You might be not hanging out with a lot of people. It's a hermit phase as part of this too. A lot of times, unless you find people that are into this stuff, because I realized once I was into this, it's all I wanted to talk about. And other people just don't want to talk about it. They don't want to know what their problems or issues are. It's really like you're buzzkilling me. It's like they're at a party and you're like, yeah, man, isn't this music a little too loud? Shouldn't we be studying for the test tomorrow? And everyone's like, dude, you're fucking killing the buzz. We're trying to party. And that's the exact way that I try to use when I'm looking at other people so I don't judge them. And I don't look at it like in a sarcastic way, like I'm better than them. You're just partying and I'm trying to get serious stuff done. No, that's not what I mean. They're this whoever person I'm looking at and not judging or trying not to judge, it's up to them whatever they want to do with this experience. That's how I feel. And again, I'm not going to sit here and argue with people and debate and tell you that you should feel this way. I just found that it's better for me in my point of view and my internal balance that if I just don't judge people and see them as everyone has their own experience, they get to make their own choices. And the second that I think they should do something different, I'm trying to control them. It's so crazy. I don't know what's going on with my cats right now, everybody. I think they know when I'm live streaming. Hang on. What happened? Oh, you got stuck. All right. Yeah, but this anyway, I think you guys hear what I'm trying to say. So that's what that's the kind of the mechanism. There's all different ways to do this stuff, but that's just one of the things I use when I'm trying not to judge people, right? I'm just like, oh yeah, we're all just partying, we're all just hanging out. And let's see what Nigel says in the chat. Since we've been different since we got here, it's not a superior inferior self-conceit game. Yeah, we've been different since we got here. Yeah, we're all different. That's really what it is, right? Everybody is different. It's kind of like it's exactly like what they say in the Bhagavad Gita. It's like it's better to fail in your own dharma than to succeed in someone else's dharma. What does that mean? It means be your fucking self. That's what it means. It means be your fucking self. God made you. And could it be that it's a sin to not be yourself? Because you're saying to God, you didn't make me right. I shouldn't have been 6'5" with this long hair and this or whatever it is. Smoke ring. You guys see that was so cool. I shouldn't, I should have been better at basketball, or I should have done this, or I should have been that, or my nose should have been small, or I should have been whatever it is. You're basically yelling at God and you're telling God to F off. You're like, God, you don't know. I know better than you. And that, I mean, could it be that if someone said to you, hey, what do you think's going to happen if you tell God that you know better than him? You think you're going to suffer? Yeah, that's what's going on. Is he going to smote you with a lightning bolt? Maybe, but that's not what I'm talking about. I don't mean he's going to directly do something to affect your life in that second that you're going to know. But what I mean is you're probably going to suffer and it's going to suck. And you're going to say, why me? I don't get it. Why me? I want to do this. I want to. Does that sound familiar? And is that self-love? No, that's the little voice inside your head. The adversary, could it be, that's trying to tell you that you're not good enough. And anyway, so the shadow work aspect of it, the shadow worker comes in and is the person who is doing it to themselves. If you're a shadow worker, you can help other people. You could give other people advice. You could start a podcast, and I don't know what is going on right now. You guys, you could start a podcast. Sorry, my cats are going crazy again. Guys, you want to hang on a second? Pause the show here. Why don't you go on here? You go play with your brothers. There you go. All right. One of these days. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. I know it's a little all over the place with the kitty action, but I don't know. What am I going to do? I'm a cat dad. They're magical. They contribute to the show. It's crazy sometimes when I'm pulling a card and Snickers hangs out. She knows. Anyway. So you're doing the shadow work, right? So yeah, if you're a shadow worker, I don't mean I'm someone who's like this great person and I know everything and I come around and I'm just like, I will heal you and I'll tell you your problems and you have abandonment issues and this is your problem. You have data issues. No, a shadow worker is about looking in the mirror. This is stuff I talk about all the time. It's about looking in the mirror. So as you have this new, as you're fitting yourself into your new worldview, it's the best way for me to describe it, to put it that way. And you're going through your dark night of the soul and you're doing the shadow work. And a lot of it has to do with what's happened to us in the past. Most of us have abandonment issues. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys this, right? From whatever happened, even if we had a stellar, terrific childhood, we could still have abandonment issues. And what happens, we build these walls and we don't want anyone in because we don't want to get hurt again because we were hurt. And we're like, you know what? The best way to not get hurt again is to just not try and not get hurt again. So anyway, you're doing the shadow work. Man, I think I was on a real roll. I'm really gonna listen, thumbs. My cat Thumper. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But anyway, my main point though is I'm not when I'm talking about shadow worker, I'm not saying I'm up here somebody again who's like conceited and like gonna try to tell you what to do. It's just about doing it to your working on yourself and trying to figure out what works best for you. And in the beginning of the show, I was talking about how when I first got into all this work, I was like, oh, I'm going to be like this ascended master. You know, it's going to be great. I'm going to be able to meditate and overcome everything. I'm never going to have any problems again. Right? Everything's just going to go, the universe is going to line up and everything's going to go my way and I'll have no more resistance. And I think a lot of people already start to realize, unless you're kind of new to this stuff, that that might be a naive view. It's kind of like how people think once we get married, we'll live a happy life after and everything will be fine. You ever meet these people like, we have problems, but we'll just get married, it'll be fine, right? Everything will be fine. Is that the case? Well, I don't know. Sometimes it works out that way, right? I'm not saying you can't work it out, but um, if you try to, what am I trying to say, everybody? You know, but anyway, it's really about working on yourself. And what I found was that that's what I thought it was. It was like I was going to become this ascended master, and slowly but surely, I started to realize that shadow work, what it is just starting to see yourself as perfect in every moment, even when you stutter on a podcast and lose your train of thought. And you're like, oh no, what did I do? I sound, oh man, I must look so horrible. I got my cats running around. I started a couple minutes late. I didn't have my quote was ready, but it wasn't that. Oh no, it was the I didn't share the set, all these things. But is it perfect? Like, is that how it was supposed to happen? Was I supposed to do all those things? Was Thumper supposed to come in here and derail me? Yeah, probably. I was probably sucking. He's like, dude, daddy, you could do way better. He's like, what are you doing? And that's what I'm starting to find out in life, though. It's just that you start to see things as perfect, even if it isn't what you wanted to happen. Because who are you to want these things? Who are you? It's weird, right? Because when you get into this stuff, people will say you're special. You are special. You're worth it. And that's kind of what you need. That's what I need anywhere. So a lot of people need to get out of that first step. And then once you get past that first step, it's like, oh, I am special, but not really. Am I? Am I even anybody? It's like, and that again, that has to do with what shadow work is about. And that's why I think it's so hard to talk about and explain and to tell anybody the exact right path. Because like I always say, if you're going to use this as self-work, this beautiful lapis crystal that I have, and everyone's like, oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to go, whoa, we're going to go to the moon. It's going to be my self-work. But what I have found is it's more like this. I started here, started meditating. It's great. It's great. Boom. Oh no, what happened? Oh yeah, it's fine. Boom. Oh, I went backwards. Oh no, I'm back in my old ways. Back up here. It's great. Look at this. Oh my God. I'm enlightened. Boom. Not anymore. I'm it all. I'm so powerful. Not anymore. So my advice really is to just keep a sense of humor with this stuff. I think God has a really great sense of humor. And how dare you, Brandon? Because I think this is all just a cosmic joke. I really feel like this universe is a giant ball busting machine. And all the stuff that's happening to us is just trying to throw us off our center. And it's like, well, are you going to get thrown off your center by this one? Am I going to throw you off with this one? And again, it's not like you fail if you get thrown off center. I think you could just keep getting thrown off center all the time and you kind of just deal with it. And then you have what's called the hectic, crazy life, and you have a lot of stress and anxiety. But as you start to work on yourself and do self work and shadow work and all this stuff, it starts to kind of fall away and melt away. And your existence isn't so turbulent. Now, that doesn't mean that things are going to happen that are going to piss you off and you're going to have to try to get knocked off your center. In fact, maybe crazier things will happen. Maybe the realm's like, all right, you think you're so fucking hot shit. Let's do this. Wow. And then you're like, oh man. And you're like Job and you lost everything. And then you're just like, all right, well, I guess this is part of the plan. Let's see what there is. Your move. It's kind of like that, right? It's because we're all going to die in the end anyway. If we were immortal beings in this form, immortal in this realm, we didn't die, it'd be different. It'd be a totally different story. But since we're not, every second that you're not doing exactly what your heart's desire is, that is a second you're wasting in this realm. Could it be? No, I know what everyone's going to say. What if my heart's desire is to smoke crack all day? Well, there's probably a reason for it. I'm guessing maybe you had a lot of trauma in your life and you should give yourself a break. And maybe you should smoke that crack and not judge yourself and be like, you know what? This crack is fucking great. I'm just going to enjoy it. Because if you're smoking your crack and there's like half of you that just doesn't want to do it and thinks it's terrible, you're not getting your full crack experience. And you paid the money, you might as well. It's like drinking. If you're going to get drunk, just like Ram Dass says, get drunk righteously. Now, again, I'm not here to tell anyone what to do with their lives. I'm not a guru. I don't have all the answers. Do I have any of the answers? I could be totally wrong. I probably am totally wrong for most people in here. But what I'm doing through hyperbole, comedy, past experiences that I'm sharing with you guys, I'm trying to lighten your load, I'm trying to make it a little better. I'm like the funny guy I'm like the jester who will bring you over that river of Styx, right? I'm like death, but I'm not as serious. I'm like a funny death. I'm like the gesture death. I'm like, guess what? How'd you die? It was hilarious. Come on, we're going. Grab your. You can't grab nothing. Just come on, we're going. That's the thing, right? That's what I'm saying. You can't take anything in this realm with you. And if you're somebody who believes in the afterlife, that there's something that happens after we die, then you can have a spiritual view where you can start to understand what I mean by a spiritual view. And all I mean by a spiritual view is a view that a God might have, that God himself or creator might have, looking at this whole experience. And maybe there's a plan that this creator has, and then it involves a lot of nasty stuff that happens in this physical experience that we tricked ourselves into thinking we're having. If you zoom in on anything, this hair clip, it's not a hair clip, it's energy bouncing around. I'm afraid to tell you. It's what mainstream science will tell you. What does that mean? It means it's not real. It's just energy. Okay, the energy is real, but what I'm saying is it's not real the way you're perceiving it. Most people, it's not real in the way that you believe. It's not a solid mass at all. We're tricked. There is no such thing as a solid mass from the spiritual view. Now, from the physical, yes, there are limitations and stuff like that, and people die and they're gone, and these forms don't last, and everything changes constant here, and You have this law of entropy where everything is constantly dying all the time, and it seems so grim. But it just depends on how you look at it. Just look at it from the other angle. That just means everything is growing all the time. There's always new life, right? New life to go with the death. Is it a balance? Is it kind of like everything has to balance here? It's this weird realm of balance where you have like a dark side and a light. You could probably symbolize it great if you had this little fish that was black and white and you made it like a disc. As Dragon Reborn, you guys know what I'm talking about? The yin yang. You might know it as the yin yang symbol. You guys know what I'm talking about. If that's the case, if it really is dark and light and it's a balance, then if you're all excited and cheering when good things happen, and I'm not saying you shouldn't look for good things to be happen, and you shouldn't have a good time, I'm not saying you have to sit there all day like, again, what did I just say? This is a giant ball with some machine. We should laugh, I think, more. We should laugh more. But anyway, if you have something happen, like say you're a violinist and you go out and do a concert and you're like, yeah, and you want everyone to cheer you and go crazy. You did your best and they didn't. And it comes out shitty. And you're like, fuck, right? Damn it. Again, not again. What can you do there, right? You could just suffer and say, I suck and get all pissed off. Or you could say, you know what, maybe I didn't practice enough. You can kind of look at it honestly and be like, I could do a better job next time. And you could kind of honestly look at what it was and use that past experience to make your future experience better. And in this way, you don't have to get attached to that past experience. You could just say, oh, yeah, I could see why this, that, it makes sense. You know what? I don't want to be, and it just don't be hard on yourself. You're just not being a slave master to yourself. That's really what the key, I think, to this is. You're just like, I did my best and I'm going to do my best next time. And as long as you really did your best and you say that to yourself, the truth will go through you and it'll be easier to let it go. You just again, this is how I did it. Everybody has their own way through. So I don't know, man. Maybe you got to fuck up so many times and just get sick of beating yourself up. I knew that I was sick of beating myself up. I went on a guilt vacation and a worry vacation. And I'll tell you guys, I don't know when I'm coming back, but it's amazing. Yeah, sometimes I still do worry about things. I'm not like a Superman or I feel guilt about some things, but then I remind myself I am on a vacation from guilt and worry, and you can do it too. It's what I teased on my last episode. I talked about it. That last episode, apologize. It was a crazy, rough start in the beginning. Had some technical issues with the internet. We got that all squared away, though. Everything's good. Back in the Brandon Bonanza studios, we got the Great Pyramid scheme. Guys, like the videos. Every time you like a video, you're part of this Great Pyramid scheme. It costs you nothing. All you have to do is subscribe to my channel, and you will ascend the pyramid, the Great Pyramid scheme. And you, too, will be great. But yeah, that's really what I found out about this shadow work stuff is it's not anything that you have to do. There's really nothing. Is there ever anything to do? There's nothing to do. That's the secret. The key to this is to just see that, wow, maybe it is right. Maybe this is perfect. I'm not saying that I like it or I agree with it or I'm happy about what's going on, but I could be happy about it knowing that eventually it's going to work out the way it should somehow. It's like a big, like if it was a still, I used to say to people all the time on the show too. It's like there's a still pond. Somebody threw a rock on in it. There's all these waves. We were born in the middle of the waves. We were just like, whoa, fucking waves. We're trying to stop them. We're going around trying to stop the waves. We don't realize is those waves will dissipate themselves all by themselves. They got to release that kinetic energy, the energy they have, right? Is that right? They got to release that energy, whatever it is. They were acted upon. There's forces. It's all in there. It's just bouncing around. Like I was saying, energy. We're all energy. So could it be we're all in this soup? We're all in this energy soup. And for whatever reason, where we are, I'm a big lump. I'm a big Brandon lump of soup. And I coagulated and I'm like, oh man, I'm different from the rest of the soup. I'm lumpy. I'm a lump. and I have my lump preferences, and I want my lump ego to be heard. I need to be heard because I'm a lump in this gravy. And then one day the lump will dissipate into the rest of the gravy and it'll be eaten by, I don't know, Shiva, the destroyer. And just like people used to say back in the 80s and 90s when you'd eat weird things together, why are you eating those weird things? Like, man, it all ends up in one place. It all ends up in your stomach together. It's just like that. The stomach is like heaven. We're all just getting chewed, and we're gonna end up in the cosmic stomach doing that dance, and then we're gonna be pooped out into another form to do it all over again. Maybe, I don't know. I can't tell you guys. There's no evidence. Nobody could tell you what happens after you die, and if they are telling you, and they say they know for sure, that means, could it be that they really don't know for sure and they want to convince you? Because if you believe it, they'll feel better about it. Isn't it weird? Isn't it such a weird realm we live in? And isn't it so weird what trauma does to people and how it makes them react? It almost makes them react like a slave in a way. You know, if you think of a slave master dynamic, and I'm not talking about like, I just mean mental slavery, because mental slavery is probably it sounds like the easiest one. It's like, oh, it's just mental. There's no chains and no one's beating anybody. But all the harm is internal with mental slavery. Yeah, there's external harm too. Sometimes people hurt themselves and cut themselves and work themselves too hard or whatever it is. But it starts internally with that mental slavery. And then it's just like you see somebody in a relationship with somebody and you're like, why do you keep going back to this person? What are you doing? They're just cheating on you and treating you like garbage. They're treating you like basura, and you just keep going back to them. Why? It's because, in a way, that person is a slave to the other person. And these are just terms we're using. You know, I'm not trying to dig up antebellum thoughts of this, all these things. I'm just talking about mental slavery again. And I feel like it just starts when we're young. People have, like I said, you get trauma, you have abandonment issues. And then after that, you know, everyone's trying to tell you what to do. And they're like, you're not good enough unless you do this, unless you sit down and memorize all these things, and, you know, or unless you eat all your vegetables, you got to do this, you got to. So you just, all of a sudden, you're introduced to conditional love. And you're like, what the hell is this? I can only get pellets of condition. Excuse me. I can only get pellets of conditional love when I do what I need to do. And so then you start making your whole mission in life going out doing what you think you need to do to get conditional love from other people. Does this sound familiar? And so there you are. And then one day something happens and you realize, wait a minute, I could just get this validation and love for myself, but like in a healthy way. Because I could just start to see aspects. What I'll do is, instead of hating myself because I pick my nose and bite my fingernails and smoke crack or whatever the fuck, I'm just trying to think of random addictions that people have. You know, what you got a pesky addictions like picking your nose and smoking crack. um, you could start to empathize even and sympathize with yourself and be like, you know what? It's okay that I did all this stuff. It only makes sense. Look at what I went through. And therein lies the trap again of being caught in victim. Like, oh no, I'm a victim. I'm just gonna keep doing this because it was what happened to me, and it's I'm justified because I'm a victim. And then when you get over that hurdle, you're like, oh, I could just give myself the love. I don't have to beat myself up. I could be easy on myself. I could be lazy for a day. Uh I could do things wrong, whatever it is. I could do whatever I want, and that brings me exactly what I wanted to talk about today. This is the point of all this. It goes back to the quote in the beginning. It's just seeing yourself as perfect. I'm gonna bring that quote back up, everybody, because that now I'm gonna see how that hits you. Let me see. Does it hit you different? Let me know in the comments. Does the quote hit you differently now? Where did the quote go? Where'd the quote go? It was such a nice quote. If I had full mouse controls, it'd be way better. It was such a nice quote. Here it is. Oh, I see. I minimized it. I'm so silly. All right, I'm gonna bring this back. Does it hit you differently? Let me know. Boom, there it is. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Now, people can laugh at that. Like, what do you mean? I accept myself. But I think most people know what I'm talking about because most people, I'll just say people that hate themselves know what I'm talking about because they have this self hatred. And I know about it a lot because, like, when I was doing comedy, comedians talk about it, especially go to open mic comedy. People, they'll just go up there and tell you why they hate themselves. That's mostly what the jokes are about a lot of the times. Not with everybody, I'm just saying. So, after I experienced that, because I used to go to so many open mics for years, and you could start to kind of see it. You could like take what the comedians are saying about their own lives, and then you start to decode and you see the thing as the Matrix, and you see someone else and like, oh, I bet they hate themselves too, and this is probably why, and that's why they're doing that. And it's they might drink too much. It's a form of self mutilation. It's just like they're cutting themselves, but instead of cutting themselves, they just smoke crack or whatever the fuck it is. It's just like, to me, it's a piece of them just wants to die because they're not doing it. They're not getting any satisfaction. And I think the only way to get satisfaction, I'm not going to sing that song, is the only way to get satisfaction is, listen, you can get satisfaction any way you want. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but what I found is the only way to really get true satisfaction is to raise your consciousness, is to work on yourself, is to try to become a better person. And it actually, I said that wrong. It's to become a better person because as Bukowski, Charles Bukowski, amazing poet, my wife's favorite poet. Shout out to my wife, by the way. She's the reason these are, um, she's the reason I'm able to do this too. She's one of those, so many cats and my wife and, Carl Jung and Alistair Crowley and anyway, Mark Passio. No, I didn't just lose my train of thought, did I? As Bukowski says, don't try. So just make yourself as you become a better person, you just get less suffering. And that's really, I feel like, what gives you the satisfaction, because I feel like a lot of times we're out there chasing all these things like, well, if I get that money, I'll be good. If I smoke that tobacco or whatever, I'll be good. If I get that girl, I'll be good. If I have that experience, if I could just get, it'll be good. I'll just get this and the perfect, and you get it. And what happens? You feel good and you're like, yay. And then here's hollow again. You're like, fuck. I don't know. Does that sound familiar? I don't want to try to speak for anybody, but I found that when I do this kind of work, and maybe it's the expectation too, like that's what I was trying to say earlier, and I might have got a little sidetracked, is if you're going to feel these highs in this realm, because you can feel these ultimate highs, you could do something, you could be a rock star, and you could have I went to a Pantera show, and there was a whole stadium or whatever venue full of people screaming, thousands of people, right? And cheering and singing the songs that you wrote. Think about what that must feel like. You can feel these highs in this realm, but the lows come with it too. You gotta, what goes up must come down. Isn't that right? What goes up must come down. And it doesn't mean, again, that's what I was saying earlier, it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy yourself and have a good time and laugh and all this stuff. What it means is you just don't get attached to that high feeling. You're like, I'm having that high feeling. Isn't this great? It's just like when I'm DJing a wedding of 100, 150 people, 200, maybe less, maybe 30 people, maybe 300 people, being like, yay. And I'm playing the songs. They're having a good time. And then it's over. And then an hour later, I'm at a gas station. I'm just another schmuck, after it's over. I was like, you were so great. And then, half hour later, I'm just getting my water at a gas station, just like everyone else. And everyone's like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, but I'm somebody. You should have been at this party. I was the man. If I was attached to that feeling, I would have to do it all the time. If I was attached to that feeling, I could probably have somebody trick me into doing it for free or really cheap, right? And just get that feeling. if I was so attached to that feeling, I could be tricked into paying to do that because it felt so good, right? Like just think about that, everybody. So it really comes down to the attachment. And again, that is you saying to the universe or to God or Krishna or Allah or Jesus or Zoroaster or Odin. That's you saying to them, I know better. I shouldn't be experiencing this. I'm going to feel terrible now because I don't want it. Nope. Nope. And guys, and I'm talking to myself too. It's not like I said, I'm not this shadow worker. I mean, I am a shadow worker, but I'm not like Brandon Smith, shadow worker. How do we get these lights? Shadow. We got to be in the shadow. There's too much lights to be a shadow. There we go. I'm a shadow worker. I come to you and I'll give you all the answers. You just ask me and I'll know. And then when I want to turn the lights on, it's on. All right. It's on. Wait, let's see which one works better. That's bright. All right. I look a little like fluorescent light, and then that's a little warmer. There we go. That's better. All right. I got a book light. It's amazing. I can read books with it, and I can also podcast with it. So you're telling God, Allah, or you're telling this higher being or whatever that you know better, and that's basically why you're suffering. I feel, and if you could just, Brandon, I'm talking to myself, other Brandon, if you could just be like, this is cool. There must be a reason I'm going through this. I got to see what it is because if I can figure it out, I'll get out of this. Because probably I'm causing whatever problem I'm perceiving I'm having right now. It's probably the case because every time I look back, that was always the case. It was always me. I mean, yeah, there's other people involved and I had to extricate myself. But maybe the problem was I was near that person. Maybe that was even the problem. And I had to say, Brandon, take those two long legs you have and walk away and stay away. And that's what I did. And I couldn't blame that other person. I put myself there, you know? So that's the thing. You just start to realize that and become conscious of it. I don't even know where I was going. But anyway, I hope you guys like my show. I'm going to try to keep it kind of short, probably under an hour. We're at 11, almost 11 p.m. How are you guys doing? I wanted to try a different time, see how I was doing. Obviously, the nighttime is the right time, and I need to get a little bit of my groove back because I was a little in the beginning. I was a little all over the place, but it's cool, you guys. Oh, my mouse functions are back. It's so funny. It happens. If you guys have Macs, you know what I'm talking about. You have the what's it called, the home button. Wherever you hit this button, and all your windows just go all over the screen. You can choose which one. Well, this mouse that I have, the program, sometimes it stops doing that on my Mac Mini, and then during the show it'll just start, and I'm like, yay, it's working again. Anyway, yeah. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Really, it's just about being easy on yourself. I don't know how many times I got to say this and get on a show and talk about it in these examples, right? But there's really no more to say. I feel like, you guys should get it, Bono. But it's kind of like the easiest. That's what I want to say. Remember, all right, guys, I'll talk about this stuff and then I'll probably get out of here because I just wanted to go to like 11:11 if I could. That'd be fun. But it's so simple. That's the thing and I think that's where people get tripped up. It's so easy to not try and to just do something. It's so easy to do it as far as the steps and physically doing it. But to mentally get there, that's the thing. That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to tell people. We are our own worst enemies in that way. And if we could just show ourselves a little self-love, and I'll run you through an example. People have self-hate for whatever it is they perceive about themselves. Say it's, whatever it is, they have this self-hate. It's a habit or whatever. If they could, guys, the words are just all coming at once. It's that Seven of Swords. It really is. It's crazy. how could I put this in a way to make it so I'm not going to worry about being perfect, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and be perfect. I'm not going to try. See, that's what it is. I was trying. And again, the difference between trying, it's like the difference. I've talked about this before, but Alan Watts talks about this. A bunch of people talk about it. It's like the symbolic reality versus the real reality. It's like what a word is, the word tree. It's like the word tree versus what a tree really is. You say tree to somebody, you're trying to create a picture in their head of what a tree is so they could see it. So you can explain something here in the physical that you're trying some point of view or idea you're trying to get across from them. But if you just look at a tree, it's not a tree, it's a magical creation in this realm. That's what I'm talking about. And then some people are like, oh, what are you just high on weed or crackles on you? You're crazy. You're just hippy dippy talking like that. You don't sound, that doesn't sound magical. And then other people are like, oh, and that's the difference. It's that point of view. It's how you see what someone's trying to say. And it's all based on what you believe. And it's all based on like what you believe happens after you die and all this stuff. So that's why belief is so important because it really dictates everything that happens to you. So some people talk about manifestation and, oh, if you just believe, I'll have a Lamborghini, just focus on it and focus on it and focus on it. I'm going to have a Lamborghini. People think it's magic, but it isn't magic. It's just your attention. There's nothing magical about it. When I talk about concepts like attention and how your attention is like the most magical thing, or I mean, the most powerful currency in this realm, people don't exactly get it sometimes, or they kind of get it. And what I mean, it's so simple is wherever you focus your energy and your attention, that's what's going to happen. If you want to be a poker player, you're going to go to the casino and play poker all the time. You're going to get good at poker or bad at poker. If you want to be a professional basketballer or whatever you want to do, if you want to be in a band or play an instrument or be a comedian, that's what you're going to do. If you want to be good at video games, you're going to get really good at video games. But if you want to be better at something and you just play video games, there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance going on, right? You're like, I want to be a comedian or whatever it is, but I sit home and play video games all day. But I wish I was a comedian. And then you go out with friends and you tell them jokes, and you're like, oh, I should be a comedian. And they're like, why don't you be a comedian? Like, I can be a comedian. I don't know. That's what's stopping you. Just that little, I couldn't do it. It's too hard. Instead, I'm going to get really good at video games and I'm going to master the video game world. And you're like the best video game player. But what you don't realize is if you took that time and attention and you put it toward literally anything else, you would be the best at that. And what stops you from being the best at that? Your own self doubt. Now, yes, there are sometimes physical limitations. I mean, I don't know. Spud Webb was in the NBA and he was like 5'6". But most, whatever. I don't know. Who am I to say? But I think you guys know what I'm talking about here. And that's really all that stops you is your own self-doubt. And what can get you over that? Positive self-talk, shadow work, being a shadow worker. This is what I'm talking about. And this is really what being a shadow worker is. It's just about every day saying, how am I causing my own problems and being honest with yourself? It's the hardest thing to do because it's so easy to blame other people because then you could just go about your day and do what you want to do instead of working on the aspect of yourself that you don't like. But there's a secret to it. And I'm glad you guys waited all the way to the end. It's 11:05, so we got about 6 minutes. The secret is to just see yourself as perfect. You don't have to do any work. You don't even have to meditate. I mean, I would say probably you should meditate because it does make it easier to see all these things and to see yourself as perfect. And um, there's certain muscles you could say that get exercise that help you see these things. And yeah, there's a lot of that. That's why these different religious works or holy works or even like esoteric or occult or any of this stuff, symbolism, it can help you, but it's not necessary. It's just like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. He's like, the spiritual works, a spiritual work or book is like water on a floodplain to the enlightened man who gets it or who sees God everywhere. To the man who sees God everywhere, books, that's what it is. To the one who sees God everywhere, holy books are like water on the floodplain. It's like you don't even need them, right? It's just about seeing that God is everywhere. And it's all part of that. And what does that mean? That means that your shitty bill that you have, your pain that you have in your neck and back or foot, or your car that's this or your that you got to get done. It's all part of this cosmic plan, could it be? And it's all trying to get you to see something to change some kind of behavior that's causing it to be that way. Or it's all leading you, all this stuff is leading you to where you need to go and where you need to be. Could it be? I don't know. What do I know? I know nothing. That's what Socrates taught me. Socrates says, I know that I know nothing. And that's like the height of knowledge. I'm sorry, the height of wisdom is what he says. And I think it's, I tend to believe him because I have some quotes I'm going to share too. Because I feel like anytime you think that you know something, then you have to defend it. And why would you have to defend truth? Truth stands on its own. If you just say that you're not sure and you don't know, and then to your best estimation, and again, in the physical or you're at work or something, and someone's like, hey, what do you want or you're at the restaurant and someone's like, what'd you like to eat? And you're like, I don't know, whatever God says, sometimes you got to make decisions, and I get in. You can have preferences and pick things and stuff like that. But what I'm talking about is deep down inside, when you're having that little talk with your inner self, that other, I like to call it other Brandon. When other Brandon is having a conversation with other Brandon, and he's like, you know what? We should do it this way. We should have it. We should want it. It's like, well, we do like it this way. We like that. But if we can't have it, are we going to be a baby about it? Are we just going to be a man and see what happens? Hey, maybe. Could it be? I don't know. But if I look at this a certain way and keep like I gotta sign back into, dude, this is so funny. YouTube makes me sign back in to end the show. Maybe if I keep my cool here, something good will happen. Maybe if I don't freak out when I don't get my own way and keep my cool and go with the flow, something cool will happen. Maybe I'll make a friend. Maybe somebody will see me act cool under pressure and be like, dude, I want to be friends with this guy. This guy. I mean, who knows what can happen? There's so many things. So many things that are unseen, that you have no idea what's going on when you're freaking out because you're not getting your own way. It's crazy. And I don't even mean like, I just mean inside, you could keep your composure and still be inside like, why did it happen this way? I should have, Anyway, let me get these quotes up for you. Kind of think that's what that's about. All right, I'm going to see if I can get them both in this. Oh, yeah, look at this high tech. All right, so these are some quotes that I had. I was going to put these at the beginning of the show originally this week. But I wanted to keep it simple because these quotes, I think you'll see why. Now I'm going to drink some water too. I'll share them. I'll put it up here and then I'll read it after I get a little sip. So this is Meister Eckhart, not to be confused with Eckhart Tolle, by the way. This guy lived. I should look it up, but it was. You know what? Let me look that up. I'll read this and I'll look it up. So I should have looked this up originally, but I think it was. Let's see. When did this guy live? When was this guy alive? Yeah, there we go. Life. Anyway, okay. So this guy was all around in 1260. Whoa. Okay. So I just wanted to see how old, because these concepts, they're timeless. There's nothing new under the sun. I'm going to start the quote now. We ought to take everything God puts on us evenly, not comparing and wondering which is more important or higher or best. We ought to simply follow where God leads. That is, to do what we are most inclined to do, to go where we are repeatedly admonished to go, to where we feel most drawn. If we do that, God gives us his greatest in our least and never fails. That pretty powerful. Let's go to the next one. I'll make this bigger for myself too. But even if God is in all ways and all things evenly, do I not still need a special way to get to him? Now, I took this out of a letter, so it's like somebody's asking him a question, but I think he wrote, Meister Eckhart wrote all this, so he was kind of, playing devil's advocate here. He's basically saying, even if God is everywhere, but don't I need a special way? Don't I need a religion or don't I need a symbol? Don't I need a talisman or a secret words? And he's like, let us see. Whatever the way that leads you most frequently to awareness of God, follow that way. And if another way appears different from the first, and you quit the first and take the second, and the second works, it is all right. It would be nobler and better, however, to achieve rest and security through evenness, by which one might take God and enjoy him in any manner, in anything, and not have to delay and hunt around for your special way. That has been my joy. To this end, all kinds of activities may contribute, and any work may be a help. But if it does not, let it go. Now, guys, I don't want to make claims here, but he's basically saying whatever you're doing is what God wants you to do. Now, I know that what I just said could easily be used as a justification for all kinds of horrible things, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about in a group setting. This isn't I'm not talking about what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, I'm not talking about groups of people like I'm talking about internally, yourself, how you feel about it, right? It's okay if you say to yourself, oh, maybe this is what God wants me to do. And yeah, you're right. Okay. So even that can be misconstrued, and people could be like, well, I had to go in and commit this and then, insert any vile crime because it's what God wanted me to do. That's what Brandon said on his show. No, I'm not telling you how to live your life. Remember that, everybody. What I'm saying is that it's just one way to feel less like a victim and to accept yourself as perfect. And what I mean by telling yourself that, hey, isn't this what God wants me to do? It's more about being compassionate when you're looking back on your past behavior and saying, oh yeah, like I was saying earlier, right? It's the same thing. You look back on it and say, oh, I could see why I did that. Compassion isn't consent. There's this other guy say that a lot, probably still does, but it's a really good thing to say because it's so true. Compassion isn't consent. You don't have to look back and say, oh, I was right. And oh, I was, everybody thinks everything has to be so black and white in this realm. Yeah, this is a realm of light and darkness, and it's a realm of balance is the word I was looking for, like the yin and the yang with the black and the white. But there's so many gray areas that you're into when you're going between the black and the white and you're balancing back out, right? That's what this is. This is the gray between the black and the white. Could it be? Because if you mix them together, that's what's going on. It's motion. Black and white make gray. Could it be? I don't know. I'm having a stellar hair day today. I don't know what is going on. I promised I brushed it before the show. I want to look my best for everybody every time. Anyway, yeah. So that's basically what Meister Eckhart is saying, and I would say it's like what Bashar says. It's kind of like follow your excitement, and as you follow your excitement and see yourself as perfect, then these behaviors you see as addictions and nasty things you want to end kind of just fall away. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up the show, guys. I think I got my point across to you guys. I think I expressed myself fully in the way I wanted to. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Make sure you go to morelawsmoreproblems.com. Let me just get another sip. My voice is kind of fading out too, so it's a good time to end it. Morelawsmoreproblems.com is the website. If you guys like what you saw, you could donate there. You could follow me there. You can read my blog, comment, all that fun stuff. What else did I want to say? And just keep your eye out. Make sure you click the bell because you never know when I'm going to go live. It might be at 10 o'clock at night or it might be at 10 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? I don't. All right, guys. I'm going to play my song, The Great Quentin Farrell. Do, 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 do. Am I gonna? Yeah. And then I'm going to get out of here. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. It's been a blast. Have a great night. And we will see you next time, sometime next week. Whoops. Good night, everybody.